Hey guys, what's going on? It's Talk Force TV all here for the Red About Show. To my left, we have got the one and only. I know he's geared up for this show tonight. The T show actually, Mr. Luke,
Evening.
and below us both, we have got Mr. Redler. It's Jack.
Hello.
Hello. Just before we jump in on the main topic, I know Luke's really eager. Just want to say a big thank you to everyone for voting for Talk Force TV to be on the Football Content Awards. Massive thing. And for these guys for graphing as well. So, big thumbs up and let's keep on voting. I don't know if you two got anything to say on that.
Yeah, just echo Dan saying, make sure you get voting. Thanks for giving me the chance to come on. And hopefully, who knows what might happen in the future.
You got anything to add on to that, Luke?
Just get voting so that Talk Forest TV is more successful than Forest on the pitch at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump in straight into it because obviously I know we're very eager. It is about Chris Hughton because obviously I know Luke's got 2 pages worth of facts and knowledge that he's been working on all day. So, what's your thoughts on Chris Hughton?
Do you want me to go first?
Either.
Yeah, go on then. I'll let you go first.
I mean, I just want to start it off by saying that Chris Hughton has got a win percentage of 28%, which there's only Alex McLeish that has a worst win percentage of permanent managers on 14.3. In contrast to this, I just worked out prior to the show our highest win percentage between McLeish and Hughton was actually Martin O'Neill. That's crazy.
Very crazy.
Yep.
I mean, how crazy it is that he plays sort of similar way of playing, but it's still a high percentage. And obviously, Martin O'Neill been out of football for how long before he came to Forest. So,
I'm just looking at Hughton's records. You've got 14 wins, 16 draws, and 20 defeats. We've only won 7 since January, or 8 if you think you class Bradford. I mean, yeah, there'd be some draws mixed in there, but that's surely grounds for sacking on its own, never mind everything else that's going on.
What do you think of that, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, it's just another thing really that backs the side of him going. Like, I was trying to think, like, some managers you can be like, oh, they've, but they've done this, or but there's this situation. It's like, I don't know, you can't really say, like, I guess you could use some managers say, oh, but he came in and steadied the ship. Okay, I guess he did a little bit, but like, I don't know. It's just we don't really want to be in the position where we're steadying the ship. Like, it's just not what Forest are after. And 7 wins since January is, like you say, it's grounds for sacking by itself. And when you really think that we're in like the 8th month now of the year and we've only won 7 games, it's not even one a month. Like, I know obviously you don't play in July and June, but it's still that's crazy. Yeah, I didn't realize it was as bad as that, to be honest with you. That's mental.
But something you just touched on there, Jack. You said about coming in and kind of steadying the ship. Chris Hughton, for most of last season, was saving us from relegation with 42 games of the season. You're saving us from relegation with 42 games of the season.
Yeah.
Where's the ambition?
Yeah. I don't, yeah, when you put it like that, 42 games to save you from relegation, it really just shows like, you've got him in. Oh well, we've had a poor start, so we just do what you can. You don't have to do too much. If they say to him, "Oh, you've come in to save us from relegation," no wonder he's not trying to get anything higher because he's got no incentive to. Oh, they don't want me to get any higher. They just want me to keep them up. It's really it's mad.
Do you think now? Don't put this scenario out before Luke jumps in. Do you feel like that they are going to try and give him the tools, especially with the change of the summer within board level? I just don't throw that scenario out.
Personally, I don't see how he survives Saturday if they lose, regardless of the parts that he has to play with.
Mm.
I mean, something doesn't quite marry up, right? We are going down this Barnsley approach, where we're signing players between 21 and 26. Yes, Dan, before you mention it, I've mentioned Barnsley.
Yes.
But then Chris Hughton is constantly coming out in his post-match interviews going, we've got a fairly young squad, so, and then blah, 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 whatever he says. And he mentions the young squad so much that to me it's like, well, do you actually believe in what we're actually trying to do?
I would
Because if somebody
that.
believed in what they were doing, you wouldn't feel like you had to keep mentioning the fact that our squad's so young.
Yeah.
I would touch up on that because obviously the transition of the playing squad has sold this summer. I mean, we've gone from that having 30 players with that half them being old to a very, very young squad. So it's obviously a massive change again. So, what do you think of that?
I think obviously it is a change. I mean, we did have like even players on loan who were getting on in their football years to a young side now, but he should have had that conversation in the summer. Like he should have met with Dane Murphy and been like, right, he would be like, this is what I want you to do. We're going to have a young squad. You're going to be working with younger players, bringing younger players in. So he shouldn't be using that, I guess, as an excuse. It should be something that he knows that's his job, so he has to do it. Like, I don't know. It's not like he's waiting for older players to come in because the squad he's got is predominantly younger players. He doesn't. It's like he's got. Or when these older players come in, then will be better because, like you say, Murphy wants us to use younger players. So this is what he's got to go with. So I guess it does seem like he's trying to say, oh, but when I get in these older players, but these older players aren't going to come. So is that what he wants to do? Is that how he's going to work? I don't know. It doesn't really seem like they're on the same page.
Do you think he's doing this sort of negative tactics, either get himself to the sack, or do you think he's doing it for another way of doing it?
No, he's doing it because that's the way he does it. He's done it at Norwich. He's done it at Brighton. I mean, check out the We Are Brighton article. I mean, I spoke to a Norwich fan the other couple of days before the Stoke game, and basically, if you didn't know he was a Norwich fan, you'd think he was describing Forest. Isolated strikers, creating midfield requirements. We've got like-for-like substitutions, going out to keep as low score as possible, but don't go forward, keep a 0-0. And if you concede a goal, then keep it tight, don't concede another goal. It's all what we're seeing in front of our own eyes, and still people want to keep it. Wake up. It's not going to change. He's repeating himself from job to job.
And I think you look at his style of play, and there's not very many managers that are getting success playing that way these days. Like it just looks like his style of play has moved on, and it's like you see sort of the teams that have gone up before us. They play they play the similar systems like Norwich played it. I think Fulham played similar systems, similar formations to us, but the way that they act and the players act is totally different. And I just think that the way that he's trying to play, it might have worked really well 5-10 years ago, but now I just think it's kind of outdated, and the way that football is turning into is just not that sort of way anymore. So it's a bit of it's a shame for Hughton because I think he's done so well in the Championship, but I think he just has to adapt, and I don't think he's done that.
I've got a question. Do you think the problem with us lies deeper than the managers? Because the reason I ask this, even though he's got the highest win percentage, O'Neill still played the same way as Hughton to a degree. Lamucci was a counter-attacking manager. It was try and set the pressure up and then get behind them. Karanka, first 2-3 months, he was okay. Then everybody found us out. For the past 4 managers we have had have all played the same way. Yet, if we then go on to what Jack brought up about the letter from Randall.
Yeah, I've not read the full letter myself. I've just seen someone share a screenshot of it on Twitter. I think Dan's going to get it up here. The section that's highlighted there says the title is "So what about the playing side?" And it says, "On the playing side, I want to make it clear we believe Nottingham Forest is a very, very special football club. Unlike the vast majority of clubs, it already has a clear philosophy and identity. By way of summary, we believe there are 2 sides to this philosophy. The first is a commitment to not just not just getting results, but also in a style of play which is adopted to get those results. In short, we want to encourage a passing game. We want you, all the club supporters and neutrals, to be entertained and to see attacking football played in a manner that excites and enthuses and which sends the supporters home happy. We know that this is difficult to achieve, but we will strive to play this way." Which, yeah, is not what we've been seeing.
But just going on to that, the closest we have been to that is under Mark Warburton.
Oh, that's my next question as well.
And for me, we tried to do Mark Warburton with Matt Mills. And arguably, that was the last time, as a Forest fan, I was actually entertained. Because at least, if you were losing, you knew they were losing trying to go forward. And yeah, it was a bit of a mess. Yeah, it was a catastrophe. And he probably needed to be back to him. But at least under Warburton, you had no idea what the result was going to be. At the minute, you just go, well, it's going to be something between 1-0, 2-1, 3-0. It's going to be a defeat, isn't it? Because unless a stroke of genius happens, the tactics change like that, and we suddenly just decide to become a team without we currently aren't, we're not going to win. I mean, I don't know another side that reckons they're going to win games by not having a shot on target. It's not even about goals anymore. I mean, the alarming stat of goals was kind of gone when we were scoring goals in defeat. But we're now 3 hours and 20 minutes or something stupid since we'd actually had a shot on target. And that's what brings me on to the Wolves game last night. I don't think anybody was expecting us to go out and beat Wolves. But you'd at least expect to have efforts on goal and the keeper to be making a couple of saves. You had Lewis Grabban up front, and fairly young wingers. Okay, one was arguably even a central midfielder. So that kind of begs the question in itself. Why are we now playing square pegs in round holes? But at the end of the day, the players we had out there should have been able to have created a few chances on goal. I mean, I also think there's a problem when you're changing captains between Graben and Yates, depending who is playing. Why have we not got a set captain that doesn't change? Whether it's Lewis Graben, whether it's Ryan Yates, whether it's Scott McKenna, why is somebody not just gone, you are captain unless you are injured or suspended?
It makes the differ if they're just doing that because they're trying to keep Lewis Graben. Obviously, they've been all that talking about Graben wanting to leave. Just putting a theory out there.
Well, if Lewis Graben wants to leave, then let Lewis Graben leave. Because if a player wants to go, there is no point keeping him. And to be quite honest, all he does, and sorry for any people that love Graben, but all he does is walk around like a spoiled teenager. He's half-arsed. He's not, even when he was scoring the 20 goals, he missed more than he scored. A lot more. I'm talking like he has like 60 chances. And for the most average part, he probably scores about 7. He just got lucky. The balls were fed through to him at the right time in the 20 goals. I mean, you know, if you had Warnock in charge, all right, it wouldn't be the best football in the world, but at least you would have the man management that got the best out of that squad. And everybody would know if they had a problem, Warnock could sort it. Or they wouldn't be at the football club. We have a problem where I think we have far too many unhappy players at the football club. Lyle Taylor's one for sure.
I was going to touch on Lyle Taylor because there was some reported apparent texts from Lyle Taylor. Apparently, he sent really big texts out saying that he wants to leave, saying that right around Yates, saying that football's shocking, right swearing, and things really bad. I just wondered what your dad's views on it.
I don't know how true they are, but I can see, because I think he mentioned something about a lack of, like, how he's trying to press up front and he's got no support and stuff like that, which, it is true, like what they're saying, but I don't know. And like Luke said, if you're unhappy players at the club, like, you may as well let them go. Like, you don't want anyone who doesn't want to be there because they're not going to buy into the philosophy, they're not going to try their hardest week in, week out. It's a real shame because you see Taylor, he did so well at Charlton, and you expect him to come here, and it's not worked out. And I don't know whether that's anything to do with him or the style of play, but yeah. And then to see that if it is true, then like you say, if he wants to go, then let him go, because you want players who want to be here. You don't want players coming and working just for the pay packet or just because they have to. If they don't want to be here, let them stay. If they don't, then, well, you're going to have to let them go because they're not going to put in 100%.
Can you remember there was an article on the Evening Post? I can't remember which player it was, but they were on about when Colin Cudwood first came in. This going back some years now, and saying that after when Messon got sacked and Cudwood came in, and he could tell that Darmini wasn't great. He literally got everyone into the room and said, "If any of you want to go, write your name on the wall." And apparently, a few of them did it, and Cudwood got rid of them literally straight away.
Yeah.
But the thing is, right, and I just want to lay it out right now. You've got Hughton basically saying he has no other formation-wise whatsoever. after the Blackburn game. So basically, he's saying that he doesn't trust any of the attacking players to put an extra one in and lose a midfielder. He doesn't trust his defence or his one midfielder if he plays. He's also technically then saying he doesn't want to play a different type of midfielder in alongside a defensive midfielder because, again, he doesn't think that's going to be defensive enough. Basically, it's a cop-out for that's my style, I'm going to play it, stop criticising it at the end of the day. But I am convinced if you took the shackles off the likes of Myton, Johnson, Zinkanar, Carvalho, Lolly, etc., we'd score probably about, what, between 8 and 15 goals between them. And they'd create a hell of a lot more for whoever was up front. The fact is, we aren't going to score unless it's a set piece or a fluke wonder goal playing this way. Because we don't have the impetus to go forward. And, you know, when you look at Bradford's game and you look at the goals, there was 4 players in the box. Because the instinct is for the kids to get in the box. The instinct for senior players, let's say, is, let's hang back outside the box and receive the ball sideways and keep passing it sideways. And then, right, we'll go from side to side. Well, let's go back across again and see if anything opens then. But if it does open, we won't shoot. And I think any creative player, whether it's Carvalho, whether it's Johnson, whoever, is going to look bad in this style of play. So people screaming Carvalho every game don't, because all it's going to do is give an extra game for people to criticise what he does in the style we're playing. I would wait and see if we change manager and then change style. I mean, if you got in a Mark Warburton style manager, but younger, that wanted to play fast-paced, creative football, Carvalho would look brilliant. Jack Colback would probably look brilliant. Because Jack Colback, when we were under Karanga, that was when he was the more aggressive and he was playing more decent balls across. When you're being defensive, your mind is automatically negative, which creates more negatives. I mean, the club aren't helping themselves by one having a bomb squad, which is ridiculous. I think if the player's contract, he should at least be around 13.
Yeah.
As an option. I mean, I don't care whether Harry Arter's a pain in the backside or not. When we were conceding foul after foul the other day, I'd have wanted a Harry Arter type player in midfield, getting on the referee. There is no leader. There is literally no leader within that dressing room. I'll tell you that for a fact. They all look lost.
Yeah, I'm going to touch up on the units as well. I mean, for them to actually showing the first team how to do it. I mean, last night there was more of a because they were rules and they dominated, but it's nice to see the units giving some sort of limelight to what is going on at the minute. I mean, I know last night, Abraham was saying back in the morning and the teaching looked and said, like, I mean, it's really toxic at the minute. So for that youngsters to just that sort of limelight, it is quite nice. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, I think last night, definitely in the first half. I mean, the goals were always going to come. They had so many chances. Horvath kept us in it big time, and I think he's really put in a good claim for first start. in the league on Saturday. But I think the youngsters, they just looked like they were running. They were running for it. They were trying to put themselves on the line. They were like, Fernandez was getting himself, he was blocking like whatever came his way. He was, using his strength against, I think it's Fabio Silva, their striker. And for the first half, they really looked like they were putting everything in and really throwing themselves everything. So, when the first team players look like they can't really be too bothered, to see the youngsters really throwing themselves out and really giving it a good go, that was, it shows that there actually are people still at the club, young players at the club who actually want to play for the badge, who are actually interested to do their best, which was good to see.
Yeah, definitely. I forgot what I'm saying now. Do you echo that, Luke?
I mean, I just want to touch on the toxicity point that you mentioned. They're not helping themselves. The ground was shut for 18 months. And I've heard two literally mirror images of the staff behind the counters. One in the Trent End, where 3 agency staff basically put their aprons off and threw them on the floor and gave all halfway through the game. Basically because the pumps when everyone was criticising the service, etc. But again, at least look at this sort of stuff, apologise for it, acknowledge the fact that is happening, and say it's going to change. Stop hiding and kind of expecting us to just accept it. Then also, it's not just our fans that we are setting a poor example to. For the Bournemouth game, I'm not sure if you saw the back of the net video review on Twitter, but they said there was one person working for the whole of the Bournemouth supporters that were there.
Wow.
And even when they did get served, it was a warm can of Carling tipped into a plastic glass. I mean, come on. Where's I don't understand kind of why we're suddenly just meandering along at this kind of slow pace, and kind of like you don't need planning permission to change the inside of the club. The stands are already there. You can quite easily change the ball layout underneath the stand while the ground was shut. But we just thought, you know what, that's not necessary. We could just go on high word before it even shut. It's embarrassing.
I'm going to touch up on Saturday's game against Derby because I know we touched on it quite a bit.
Before you do, Dan, I just want to touch on one of my last things because then you can round that up. Hughton also, I think, is digging himself a bit of a hole. After Stoke, he came out. The first half, I thought we were good. I'm sorry. It was 0-0 in probably the most abysmal 0-0 I've ever listened to, never mind watched. And, I mean, how can you be good when you've not even had an effort on target? What is he watching that we're not? You contrast this to Nigel Clough when he came out to his interview against Bradford, and he basically said they lost the game because their defence was inept. I mean, you've got one manager that thinks their first half performance at 0-0 with no shots on target was good, and another manager that's lost 3-2 in the last few minutes, is coming out and saying his defence is inept. That's the contrast. And both managers were available at the time we sacked Lamucci. But we daren't go for Nigel Clough because of the kind of record he had as a player and his dad. It's about time we forgot what people did as a player when it comes to managers and to point them on the record. As in, kind of, and the character and the style and doing a bit of research and not just looking at, oh yeah, he's a nice guy, 2 promotions. Mic drop.
What do you think about Luke, Jack?
I don't know, to say, oh, the first half was good with no shots on target or any shots at all, it's just, where's the ambition? Like, where's the, like, I don't know, do you want your team to win, or do you just want to try and stick at a 0-0? I was just thinking, like, it just doesn't, surely to, like, Marinakis, I mean, even if he's not bothered about the style of play or what happens on the pitch, and he's just bothered about his money, like, surely he would want somebody in charge of the club who's going to try and get him to the Premier League where he can make his most of the money. He wants a manager who's going to try and get his team somewhere that's going to get him money. It doesn't make sense. Like, you want your managers praising your team for doing nothing. Like,
Marinakis wants us to play attacking football.
yeah,
Marinakis doesn't come across to enough games to see what we actually play like. If Marinakis was kind of overheard 90% of the time, Chris Hughton would probably already be sat in half of our squad and be kind of not getting paid.
Mm.
But the fact is, right, and this is the thing that people are missing. He has employed a board of Randall, Johnny Owen, then you've got Ventros, and I think you've still got Modesto as a recruitment guy still there, as well as Dane Murphy. And if you just take out Dane Murphy, the other 4 people's advice to Marinakis, who to appoint, I'm sorry, but they can't have done their research on the last 4 appointments. Because to me, if you're wanting to change from Sabri Lamucci, you don't just go and get a worse brand of football than what you're playing under Lamucci. It just takes 5 minutes of research. And they're not doing that. They're just looking on who's got a promotion record to get them out of the division. It's the same with if you put Chris Wilder in charge. He did it at Sheffield United, but he built that up. He built that up and used the strengths of the players he had. Now, that's one bonus. He may look at our squad and do exactly the same thing. Steve Cooper, he was good at using players to the kind of advantage, but at the same time, he played big men up front. I personally, right, and I've done a lot of moaning in this show, but my solution is put Andy Reid in charge. And if people are too worried he's got no experience as a manager, well, get somebody that's a bit more tactically experienced as his number 2. Solution. Shall we talk Derby?
Pardon?
Shall we talk Derby?
Yeah. It is the big one on Saturday, of course, with Derby, ain't no shadow of doubt. I know a lot of fans going into it thinking, here we go. I mean, a lot of fans did it under Pacey when we hadn't won in like, when we won like 2-20 or something daft. What your guys thought to it?
I'm not looking forward to it. You just look at the state Derby you're in and how, just imagine if the way that their club's being run at the minute and how many little players they've got, if they can pop up with a win against, it'll just be absolutely unbearable. But hopefully, because it's a Derby game, the players might step up a bit and it might be, you say form goes out the window when you play Derby. So hopefully that happens. But I'm really not looking forward to it, if I'm honest.
Do you remember the 5-0 game where they absolutely thrashed us at the
when
City?
Billy
And
Davis got sacked the day after. I remember it fully.
I'm kind of seeing kind of deja vu. And to be honest, right, I look at Derby, and even though they've got all the stuff going off the field, they're still finding a way to get points. They are working together. Their squad has a hell of a lot more harmony than ours does. They probably are more happy than we are because most of them are academy players. They want to be playing there. They're just playing football at the end of the day. They're doing what they want to do. And they've got Wayne Rooney in charge, which I think a lot of players look to Wayne Rooney and think, well, if we can have a decent career as he's had, then we're doing all right. And I just think, to be honest, that this is the least exciting Derby game in quite a while. I mean, you referenced Stuart Pearce's 2-20. You still go into that game with the likes of Assombalonga, Osborne, Robert Tescher. You've got players on that field. Yeah, well, you still got players on the field that can score goals. And you're like, well, we're actually got that impetus that we will go out and score a goal. I mean, I don't see somebody on Saturday picking the ball up on the halfway line and doing an Osborne. I don't see that in anyone because if they break a sweat, they'll probably get taken off. I mean, it's a joke, right? I forgot this. When I talk at Lyle Taylor. When you take off Alex Myson and you're putting on, I think, Cavallo against Blackburn, the bench more or less unanimously like, what the hell are you doing? I mean, we're trying to win football matches by doing like-for-like substitutions and not putting an extra creative player on when you go down against a team with 10 men. I mean, it just shows how brainless we are at the moment. We're scared of teams like Bournemouth. I think we'll lose. I think Hughton will go. And we'll have the most chaotic end to the transfer window ever. There, I'm done.
It's better now, Luke.
Yeah, actually, it's been quite therapeutic. I might need to do another one.
So I'd like to say thank you to Jack for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you to the Portland Barnsley fan, aka one time Luke.
You're most welcome. I've more or less probably been the entertainment for the whole show, so
Yeah.
no worries.
I'd like to say thank you for watching, guys. Keep it real.